Hello, everybody. Welcome to Global Party Healing from the Inside Out. I am joined by, well, I don't even think James. I know that's the name on the screen, James, but it feels like you are so much more than James. And that is the sense of awakening that's happening in humanity right now. The awakening is now, which is what you're going to talk about. I just feel like there is this whole sense in your presence over here that I'm looking at that is beyond what most people would see as a physical being.
Yes.
Can you receive that?
I can, because very recently I have been, in the last 2 years, I've been fully made aware of my soul origins, the place that I resided before deciding to come into this body and assist with everything that's going on, to be a part of everything that's going on. So the aspect of me that is Jiamu, that is my soul self, is also present here. And we'll be speaking as well as any other aspect of myself today.
Okay, so now I understand what that means. So we're going to just step back for a moment here. So I'm in Canada and you're in the United States. And is James James is located in just outside of Louisville.
Rural Kentucky, the very southern part of the state, south central, near Lake Cumberland.
Okay. And some other people are going to need a little bit of background here. So you had, let's say, what is called, when was your aha moment in realizing, things are a little different than you thought?
Well, all during my life I've been getting glimpses of all kinds of things. Moved to Brazil when I was in my early 20s, and that's where a lot of it started. But the real aha moment was in 2005 when I had 2 NDEs, 2 near-death experiences, and went to be with Source for a little while. And got to experience the allness of the oneness of all that is. No disconnects, no efforts. No, it just is the isness of allness of isness, or whatever. I don't know if that even makes sense, but got to experience that, got to feel it, got to integrate it fully, and then come back and share it.
So when you say you were there for a while, was it was it one of those ones where they, you died on the table, so to speak, and they knew you were gone for 5 minutes, half an hour? Or was it the fact that that it seemed like forever, but could have been an instant?
I would have to go back and check the medical records in the hospital in Hilo, Hawaii. I said this to some other folks. But as far as my recollection is concerned, it was probably a matter of 11 or 12 hours that I was gone, because I know that when I came back, I was laying in a bed of ice. I had been moved from my bed into a tarp, and ice water and all this kind of stuff. I almost felt like I was drowning when I came back, kind of like the water in the womb, maybe.
Right.
And just shocked, because I didn't know what was going on, because I was there in this beautiful state, and all of a sudden, oh my God, what are they doing to me? It's freezing cold. And I think that process had started sometime during the night after the last nurse came in at like 8 or 9 o'clock, and this was 7 or 8 o'clock the next day. So 11 or 12 hours that I was gone. And I was told by one of the nurses that I actually was up walking around.
Really?
And she asked me, she says, "Don't you remember doing this? Don't you remember doing that?" I said, "I can tell you what I remember." And I would start to explain. And then she'd look over at the doctor like, well, what room was he in? Where was he? Yeah.
So I want to just say hi to Nikki. I don't know if you can see the comments. So Nikki is just saying Nikki's died before too. The Crystal Kingdom is absolutely stunning. Wow, born in Hawaii. You're transitioning there, and just sending us love. So
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, Nikki is a part of our other group. I think that's her.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I can't see the comments.
Okay. So from that moment, after having that experience and being with the allness or the isness or whatever words we use want to describe it, you came back, and were you just then James, or were you more like I'm feeling?
The facet of me that I know as Jiamu it stepped in, so I guess you would call it a walk-in.
Right.
And because before, up until then, there was a very, very, very much more ancient aspect of myself that was living that life, that had borne a lot of the burden or the weight or the experience of the receiving of the wisdom that I did in the first 40 years. So my awakening came on my 40th birthday. So interesting. Yeah. So this I knew something was different,
Uh-huh.
but I had no clue what the next minute was even going to bring.
Right. It do you still feel that way? Like very much that,
Mhm.
yeah.
Well, yes and no. I am very conscious of what is coming and what is next in the ethereal,
Hmm.
but the what is the unknown is because there are so many of us, 7 billion of us here on this
Right.
earth. I know what my responses will be to what is next, but the unknown is how everyone else will receive it, or whether or not, or resist it, or what will happen. So yeah, but that excites me though. That excites me.
Yeah. I For me, it feels like when people ask me what's next or whatever, it's like that sense of what's happening with the next interview. It's like I
Hmm.
don't even know what's going to happen with the next sentence that James and I are going to talk about, right? Like
Yeah.
it's this sense of the present is really all that is here for me when I'm
Hmm.
here, and
Yes.
it's very different experience than having had lived before, wanting to know 10 years down the road, or and I'm
Yes. 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 Yeah.
do you see that time is collapsing for everybody?
Oh, as each second passes, it collapses more quickly. As each second, each minute, each day, yeah, it collapses more quickly. And again, people are responding in different ways to it. We
Right.
see on the media and everything that's going on in that world, and then we can look over here in our neighborhood and see another world, and how, each one responds. And that's the beauty. That what we experience depends on our choices, on where we choose to focus.
Right.
Wherever we choose to focus, that's what will expand. And I believe that there are many that are stepping into the power of recognizing that and really then choosing. It's like, okay, you know what? This discord over here, this doesn't serve any of us. Let's come into this place of harmonic um,
Convergence.
place. Yeah, convergence. I want to say convergence, placement of our focus. Where are we going to focus? Because we want that to expand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 3 years ago was when I got this idea, the global party, healing from the inside out. And people are like,
Mhm.
why party? And I'm like, because to me, that's what healing is about, right? It's like
Mhm.
you're celebrating, you're leaving the past behind, the transformation, the old, whichever. This is what's happening in the world.
Yes,
And
agreed.
at the time, I was like 1 billion people being healed from the inside out. And now it's like, let's do all 7 billion at the same time, right?
I could not agree more, because how much more beautiful will it be when we get those 7.7 billion that it is now to change their perspective from this to this,
Yeah.
when they'll come together like this. Because right now we see a lot of this in the world. It's me against you, or it's this against that, or it's one or the other, a division. And the moment we take all the members of it and just do this and just, yeah.
So is it, because as we're talking about what we focus on, right? So is it a division, or is it an embracing of our shadow? So it's like what's happening from what I feel is that we've already like the tipping point has happened.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're already past that. And what we're really seeing is like we just moved the furniture. I was like, I don't know why I like to use that analogy. We moved the furniture and we went, oh my gosh, there's a lot of dust bunnies under there, right? You know?
Well, even if it's dust bunnies, it's still, I hear this word shadow,
Mm-hmm.
like I hear the word channel, like I hear a lot of
Mm-hmm.
words, and vibrationally, it's as if it's a really distant whisper.
Right.
Because even in the challenging moments of my life, of even having to deal with family members and other things that were some pretty vicious people,
Mm-hmm.
I don't see them as other. I see them as an aspect of me.
Right. So isn't
And
that like the shadow though? That's what I was saying. Isn't that like the shadow is me?
yes,
My right?
y-
And so
yeah.
when the division, that's what I was bringing up, is like I see the conversations that are going on in the world now saying, hey, you know what, I matter, and I need to be treated with love and respect, right?
Hmm.
And is this idea that is like our shadow that we've been ignoring, that everybody
Hmm.
matters, of the 7.7 billion people. I didn't know we got to 0.7 billion.
Yeah, it just last month it went to 7.777.777.777 billion people.
Really?
And now it's obviously, since it's a month gone by, who knows what it is now? 7.7 something. I don't think we've gone to 8 billion yet. I don't
But that's is where I envision, is that it's really still a whole,
It
that
is. It
that
is.
even though
It is.
someone might want to point a finger in the other
Yes.
way, it's like the shadow
Yeah.
never stops being attached to the body, right? So
The shadow meaning the ego, or
the shadow meaning like Peter Pan, he wanted to cut his shadow off. And
the self that is other from the soul.
well, I'm just saying that we seem to think there's something like this shadow is the idea that there's parts of us that maybe we've been unaware of. So you and I might be going, oh, guess what? You know what? There has been racism going on, and the Black community be going, there's been racism going on for a long time, and the Indigenous, and there are other people going, I don't know what you're talking about, right?
Yes, yes, yes,
And
yes.
so now it's like, well, you know what, you will never be able to deny it, because we've shone the light on it. We've seen the dust
Hmm.
bunnies, it is
Yeah,
totally completely there.
yeah.
And a lot of us, it's been something we've known, but now the systems and structures of the world have to collapse, just like time. That
Yes.
So
Agreed. Agreed. Yeah.
that's the
And they
awakening of
and they
humanity.
are. You can if you ever spend any time, even 5 minutes, watching any of what's going on within the structure of the government, you can see it all just falling apart. All of it. There's only discord there. There's no even barely a moment of middle ground, or even the perspective of a middle ground.
Right.
If they pass a bill or a law, well, I'm putting what I want in there, you put what you
Right.
want in there, and we'll just slap it together, and it's like, okay. That helps a lot, right? So, but
And
we need government as much as we need someone else's approval to be, right?
hold on, say that again.
We need government just about as much as we need someone else's approval to be.
So we don't need them then, is what you're saying. Correct.
Do you need someone else's approval for you to be, Jacqueline, to be all that you are?
I am that I am, and so I am.
Right. And so whatever else anybody thinks of it is what they think, and not any of your business.
Right.
Same thing with the government.
Yeah.
If we and the whole thing of like raising the hand and saying I matter, it is a double-edged sword, because unless that is recognized within, it will never be recognized without. You can raise your hand, scream, light fires, do everything,
Right.
but until within here, I matter,
Yeah.
and it's home, and you just feel it, and it's all over you like butter. You just know it. You just know that I matter. And then the raising of the hand, what becomes
Right.
unneeded,
Right.
right? Because it's already there. And then when you get to stand in that vibrational state and influence the next person, and then they get it, and then that butter's all over them. That goodness is all over them. That they get it. I matter. And then we just keep spreading it, and then none of these movements or anything. So the true resolution to all this is right in here.
Right.
It's right in here. I mean, I grew up here in Kentucky in the South, where the KKK is still very active, and I grew up playing sports and being divided because my own mother was a member of the KKK, and grew up with just some crazy things going on in the house while I went out and played with black kids all day long, and then went home, by myself and asked, "Well, where have you been?" I was like, "Oh, playing, just playing." And experiencing that,
Right.
experiencing the perspective of racism from both sides, how my friends playing basketball received it, and how my own family expressed it.
Right.
And it was just like this ping pong thing for me for a long time. It's like, okay, I'm done. At 18, I'm out of there.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, have you actually slathered yourself with butter?
Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes. That's why. Well, I'm from the South, so we slather butter on anything that's good to make it just a little bit
It's
better.
just a little bit better. Yeah, I've been to the Cracker Barrel, and those vegetables are slathered with butter. Right, there you go. But
Yes.
hey, Miss Deborah Flanagan is saying hi from Brisbane,
Hi, Deb.
Australia. There you go. And Nikki, we are one unified consciousness. I'm going to leave your post there to read later on that thing. So in this experience, now that you brought it up, so when you say you experienced racism from both ends of the spectrum, right?
Mhm.
You experienced it from, what were you feeling in the core of you?
Honestly, from as the observer, because I didn't get either side when I was a kid.
Right.
I mean, it just, that all my family members, siblings use the N word multiple times during the day. I was like, huh? Well, how
Right.
does that apply to anything we're talking about, the corn or whatever's going on? How does
Right.
the N word, as a well, and it to them it was a sense of, well, they use the N word to make themselves just a little bit higher
Right.
or a little bit superior, because
Mm-hmm.
they always already felt so small that
Right.
they had to find something that they felt in their own delusional mind was a little bit smaller than them, and then do this on top,
Right.
that whole thing, and then see it from the other side of, why are they saying that to me? A young kid at that point had never knew what slavery was, or never knew what other things, but yet obviously heard stories from their family
Right.
about white people and what might be. So yeah, I got all the spectrums of both sides of it. And then myself, just like, I actually ended up in my early 20s understanding more the side of the black person than I did my family, because myself growing up and where I did being gay,
Uh-huh.
of course, then there was a lot of this done to me as well.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of actually very dangerous, physically dangerous situations because of that. So I didn't identify, but now I comprehend both sides. And it's all just illusion. It's all just, stories people keep telling themselves.
Yeah, I had one woman say that, what did she call it? Spiritual. Um, it's like whitewashing isn't the word, spirit, but it's like when we take a spiritual perspective to say, you know what, it's all an illusion. Bypassing, that's what she called it. Have you ever heard that expression?
Spiritual bypassing?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you take the position of the observer. You
Right.
don't become emotionally or psychologically attached to either side, which is not what we're supposed to do here. We come here to gather wisdom along the journeys that we choose before
Mhm.
we arrive here and then return home. And all of the other that we get into is really just a deterrent to our progression.
So again, it's about that, in a sense, the focus of saying, it comes back to here when you said, do I need the outer to observe or appreciate or say I matter or tell me what to do?
Yeah.
And my feeling is that that's one of, again, the other things that's being obliterated in 2020 is that somebody outside myself can tell me, do I wear a mask, or, what am I going to
Yes,
do?
yes, yes.
Do
Agreed,
do
agreed.
you need a vaccine? No, but
No.
that's my personal feeling, and I respect everybody else's personal feeling. But these are things where
Hmm.
I always say, if I'm guided to put on a mask, then I will put on a mask if I need to,
Hmm.
but if my guidance is saying I'm fine, right? Like
Exactly.
I'm only gonna listen to what comes through me.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why you can do this.
Yeah.
Because people who only listen to what comes from outside of them, then they're doing this. Because they don't trust their own hearts. They don't
Right.
trust that own wisdom that comes to them. So, and it comes freely. You don't have to pay for it.
Right.
You don't have to vote for it. You
Right.
don't have to run and go get it. You don't have to do anything. You just have to be still
Right.
and receive it.
Yeah.
That's what we talked about earlier today. Is that the more we just be still and allow that, we become more and more and more empowered.
Yeah.
Empowered to do all that we've dreamt, and other things that we cannot even imagine yet are appearing right now
Yeah.
before us, right today. And I mean right now. I don't mean a month. No, I
No.
mean
Now.
right now.
Yeah.
This second, this eclipse, this solstice, this. I've talked to old people here. Which I love talking to old people, but I talk to a lot of old people around here in Kentucky, and they're all farmers. So
Mm-hmm.
they have to be connected with nature.
Right.
And they're talking about, my God, the grass is growing 3 inches in 4 days.
Right.
Um, you see them flowers over there? I haven't seen them since I was a kid, and this is a 70 or 80-year-old person. They're
Right.
they're seeing all the things that are reemerging because of this shift in humanity. Mostly because humanity's been out of the way, and
Yeah.
we
Right. They haven't been at work.
exactly that. So the earth is returning to an expression of itself
Yeah.
that many have forgotten existed.
Yeah.
So, and it's our possibilities for ascension and for expansion are the same. The earth is just a reflection of those possibilities that are here now.
Right.
The ethereal, the vibrational. That's why vibrational perception is so important. Being able to perceive vibration, to be able to notice beyond the five senses what's taking place around us, so that we can then respond from that place of awareness.
So the awakening is now, now, now,
Now,
now, now.
now,
So
and
that
each second that
now,
passes,
now. So
and
if it's
now.
now, it's now. Then everything is in now, right?
Yes,
And
that's
it's
where our power is.
only in the perception. Like you and I are only, because you're in Kentucky, so we're only 2 hours different. Whereas Rachel and I were 6 hours different in the last conversation. So it's the idea that, she's in the future and I'm in the past, whichever, from her perspective, I'd be behind, she'd be ahead. But really, we're in the now. And
Mm-hmm.
so you and I are in different time zones, but we're both
Yeah.
in this moment right now.
Mm-hmm.
And everything actually is, and every possibility that exists is in this now.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And only the perception of somebody causes them to see anything other than what is. Ready? Now!
Now. Exactly. Exactly. And and that's the beauty of now, is because, we live by the stories we tell ourselves in our heads. And at any now moment, you can decide to leave that story in the last moment. You can literally choose to let go of all of it.
Yeah.
And the moment you do, the power that comes, because I hear lots of people ask things like, well, when are the aliens going to come? When are they going to get here? Or when is this going to happen? When is the event, the shift, all this? I'm like, folks, it's already here. It is all already here. It's waiting your arrival. Because the stories you tell yourself keep you somewhere else, keep you in the past, keep you worried about the future, keep you over here, over there. And they're all of that you wish were here is here, but you're not. So let go.
Right.
Let go of it and come right here, and it will make manifest. It will be made manifest. You will see it, you will feel it, you will experience it in all of its glory, if you will.
Glorious.
And you step into a place of such immense power when you do that.
Truly immense power. And I'm going to read this one out on Nikki because I feel like I want to speak to it. If you want to speak to it too, maybe it's up to you. So Nikki says, I've had the virus, not fun. The issue is when it comes back a couple weeks later. So the air starvation is no joke. I wear a mask every time I go out for others. Humanity is important, and personally, I do not want to hurt another. And I had this conversation with my older brother, who works at he's in seniors care, right? And he was saying how there's a beautiful, I think 90-year-old woman who he would go visit every day, sort of thing. She would kiss his hand, he would kiss her hand, right? They would have this beautiful connection that was like the highlight in a sense of her day. And that was something that he missed having because he can't touch her hand now, right? Because of so he has to wear a mask to go in. She doesn't have to wear a mask. The people that are staying, the seniors, they haven't had any cases. But it was this idea that he's wearing a mask to protect her, but yet some interaction that was important to her, they can't have. So he was saying to me, I wear masks like Nikki to protect others. And I said, well, I'm in a place where nobody wears a mask because we only had 27 cases. But I have the position at this moment in time that I would refrain from wearing a mask because I believe health is what's in my existence. Health is natural. There isn't something out. And I know people that haven't had that experience, like Nikki, when you get sick, I still see when there's a sickness, it's my body is in health. My body, I breathe in, I release oxygen. If my nose starts to run, I have to release something. So if
you have a fever, you sweat it out, all that stuff, it comes as a gift.
Right.
It all comes as a gift because the bottom line is, and if we need to get into this part of it, I can, but if not, but I'll simply say this. We only ever experience that which we are in vibrational alignment with. It is impossible. Even quantum physics explains that only things that have like vibration attract and they become part of each other, sometimes forever, sometimes for a short time. It just depends on their affinity and their expansion or their retraction, whichever response they have from being together. Just like some relationships. Some people expand and they become greater as in a relationships, and some contract, and there's a lot of this that ends up. So it just depends, but we only ever experience what we are in vibrational alignment with. And if we are in vibrational alignment with discord in our bodies, which means something out of harmony, which is a virus, which is a bacteria, which is a fungus, anything like that, it comes as the teacher to say, hey, hello, you got something going on. Let's see what it is. Are you going to become emotionally and psychologically attached to it and fight it and all this? Or are you going to surrender and let it teach you what it came to teach you, and then let it be on its way?
Yeah.
That's all it is.
I had a situation when I came back from Costa Rica in December where I wasn't even out of the airport in Toronto. and my nose just started to stream. Like it was just like, whoosh. And I was like, whoa, what is it just because it's cold? And the next day I was like flat out. I hadn't been like that, just drained of energy in years. And I just was like, whoa, something's going on, right? Something's happening, and just chill. Let whatever needs to happen. Yeah. And no meaning related to it, right? And the next couple of days still, so I had my energy back but my nose was still streaming for a few more days, and then it was gone. And I would say to people, no, I'm healthy. My body was dealing with something, but it just was, but I'm still healthy.
Yeah.
Because that's why my body was working the way it was, because it was healthy.
Yeah, that's we give a negative perspective to something like that comes along because we want to do this.
Right.
It's me against it, or this one against that one. It's like I was saying earlier. We've been taught this perspective instead of this.
Yeah.
Instead of the whatever it is that comes to you. It's like somebody in traffic. Somebody comes along and cuts you off in traffic. Well, you have the choice of how to respond to that. You can either wave and blow kisses, or you can get angry and bang the steering wheel and cuss at them. Right. And it's like, okay, what's going on with me?
Right.
Is it really about them, or is it about me? And it all comes as a teacher. It all comes as a gift. There is no darkness. It all comes as a gift. It all comes for our favor. I lived in Brazil for a long time, and they have a beautiful saying there. It's para tudo que você quer, o universo conspira a favor, which means for all that you desire, the universe will conspire in favor. And that means anything that comes to you, the universe is conspiring in favor to your desires. Whatever you desire through your thoughts, through your wishes, your ideas, your perspectives, it'll bring it to you. Just wait long enough, it'll bring it to you. And then you get to experience it. And then you get to choose, what side of that will you see? What side of that will you choose to be a part of, or become the observer of? And there's a lot of peace in the observer perspective.
So as people are waking up to humanity being here now, right? The awakening, and recognizing their vibrational alignment. Do you feel like it's like everybody's going, is it going to be like the dominoes? Is it going to be this? Some people are going to, absolutely, and other people are still going to be with their head in the sand.
It's going to be full spectrum. It really is. But here's how I talk to people about this. Imagine yourself in the middle of a 10-mile wide field.
Okay.
And you call something out, whatever it is. The ones that are obviously closest to you will hear it the most clearly. Then the next layer will still hear it, but not quite as clearly, and on and on. And some will not hear the call at all. So I feel when these moments of opening of portals and of all the beautiful avenues for ascension come about, those who are closest to already being there will hear the call the most clearly, and they'll just go.
Right.
It won't even, there's not even no thought, no yes.
Right.
Just yes, just yes. And again, as the layers between them and that reality are denser, and the further away are from it, it will be more to do, and there will be ones that will not even hear the call.
Well, and that, I think there's a scripture, that that I always wondered about, which was something to the fact that Jesus said there'll be many that have said they've cast out demons or things in my name, but they'll never even have known me. And exactly. And I feel like that there's a lot of talk about things, right? But the authenticity and the actions of
Yes.
being that are completely different.
Yes. Yes. The intention we hold with our actions, because there are some of you can see it in a place like this. It's where I live is very beautiful, but it's very rural, and they're very simple people.
Mhm.
And I talk to some, I talk to some of the, I love, like I said, I love talking to old people. And I know that some of these old people, they have never even been out of Russell Springs. They probably, the furthest way they've been is a couple hours down the road.
Right.
Yet they know something's coming.
Yeah.
They say it. They've said it to me. I know something's about to change. So it doesn't matter that you're educated or if you've been to big cities, you've seen this person. They know it's in their heart.
It's in
They
their heart.
know it.
Exactly.
And so they'll hear the call.
Yeah.
They might call the call something else. They
Right.
might use a different, but they get it.
Yeah.
They get it. So we can never, it's never to be said that, oh, because I'm
No.
awake, I'm aware, I do meditation, I do, yeah, no.
No.
No, there's a lot of people in a yoga class that will not get it.
Right. Oh yeah. Like I met a yoga teacher in Toronto when, this is, and she was saying she had to quit her studio because she said what she was experiencing was, as she said, her great phrase is a bunch of skinny white women were coming to yoga to do yoga because it was the thing to do. There was no connection about the spiritual aspect. And she just, it was like, she just said, I just never felt, I felt out of place now because what I believed about yoga was kind of being like, I shouldn't use the word tarnished, but that was what it felt like. It was being dismissed.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Well, there's another scripture just to accompany yours that I feel is appropriate, and it's one. I mean, of course I live in the South. I've heard the
Right.
Bible just bashed into your head, from a young age. But there's one that always stuck with me, and it is that the meek shall inherit the earth.
Yeah.
So it is such a simple phrase, but such profound wisdom that the meek shall inherit the earth. And they're talking about the new earth.
Right.
And it's such a beautiful thing to notice that we don't have to be from anywhere. We don't have to know a bunch of stuff. I mean, this little farmer's wife that I spoke with, and just as humble and beautiful, and fed 3 generations of kids and grandkids and done all of her thing. She hears the call. She hears it already, and she'll be there.
Yeah. I want to address Nick again here because he was just saying that he's sort of worries me about that he feels that COVID is being dismissed by some as maybe not real. And I feel like, Nikki, that's, if you've got that impression, so there is something out there that's affecting people, right? That's called COVID. And
Yeah.
and so yes, most definitely that is an experience that people are having. Whether for me, whether the story about it is exactly the way the story is, that's for me up for interpretation.
Yeah, sure.
And everybody can have their perception of the experience because everybody needs to have that perception of the experience. Ultimately, I'm just speaking from my experience. For me, I know to stand in health as a truth, that it's a birthright, that it is just something that is part of who I am, and what was given to me is what I need to do to be that lighthouse to say there is a whole other world. And health is a key ingredient. And I think that's the last, the financial system and the health system are the two that are being completely dismantled. The government system, it's all collapsing because it's outside ourselves.
Yeah, that's why I was talking about in our session earlier today as well, all these little things that are happening to the earth. I mean, all of us have said, even back in March, my God, aren't the songs of the birds? You just seem to hear the birds more. All these things. And today I said to everyone, I said, that's the earth calling you home. That is the earth calling you home to come back. Listen to all this beauty. The bird. I mean, who can't go walk out either in a park,
right,
in somewhere in a forest, and just listen to a whole bunch of birds singing and not come to a calmer place?
Right.
if they allow themselves to shut off the mind and even for 5 minutes just sit there with the beautiful songs of all the birds, you can't tell me that you don't find a calmer place to
Right.
see the world through. And so all these structures are crumbling,
Hmm.
and at the same time, the earth is calling.
Yeah.
Where will you focus? Will you
Right.
focus on the crumbling, or
No.
will you focus on the growth? And it's
Yeah.
just the same thing with health. Again, you only experience what you are in vibrational alignment with, and your vibrational alignment is transmuted and transformed by your thoughts, your feelings, and the words you speak, and the things you pay attention to, and where you focus. So if you go out and focus on that harmonious sounds of the birds, you go dig in the dirt and plant something that will give you food, you go focus on those things, that's just going to expand. And
Right.
just like the time that we said the time thing is crumbling, the earth aspect of abundance is expanding
Yes.
really fast, showing us without a doubt
Yeah.
what truly sustains us and what truly will bring us all that we could ever need.
Right.
And so we get to choose, we get to practice, because I receive from aspects beyond this physical that right now we're in a phase of a dress rehearsal. And I think I said this to you the other day.
Hmm.
We're in a dress rehearsal right now, folks. So anybody who's hearing this, you're now you know, so you can't say you didn't know.
Right.
We're in a dress rehearsal right now. We're getting to mull this over with each other and talk about it, and back and forth, and find out different perspectives and all this kind of stuff. And some people are choosing to do this to fight about it, because later in this calendar year, there'll be occurrences where you won't get to practice anymore. You'll
Right.
have to choose.
Yeah.
And,
And,
and you can't say now that you weren't made aware, because that's why this is kind of dragging out. It's like there's an aspect of the higher realms that's perceiving, well, not everybody's getting it, but I know there's more that could. So let's give them a little more time to practice, because when the sun and the moon are on the horizon the next time together,
right.
things will start to shift dramatically.
Yeah.
And there will be, even in that shift, there will be beauty and there will be strength.
Yeah.
Where are you going to focus? Where will you focus?
Well, let's just be with that one for a minute, right? Because it is about choice.
Mm-hmm.
And I like, as you said about the little woman in Kentucky, right? That she could feel something in her heart. When we're in
Mm-hmm.
tune to what comes through us, when we're completely aware, it's irrelevant what anyone else is making it mean. Like
Mm-hmm.
yesterday, I've had similar experiences when I've gone to G Global Party where I just needed to ground, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yesterday was a different feeling too. It was like all of a sudden I felt like if we just woke up and snapped our fingers, everything could be different. But
Mm-hmm.
I was out in the sandbar. I was like out in the sandbar in the middle of the ocean, lying like on the ground, spread eagle. Like I had to feel what that, not just so much the energy at shore, but the energy that was out there that was going to be covered in water, in
Mm-hmm.
5 hours.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I needed to do that, right? It was just like, I need to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like when people trust where they're guided to go in nature, what they're a moment to say, oh my gosh, there is a bird. Let me just be present to the sounds of the birds
Mm-hmm.
versus me feeling that I have to do something. And I think those are some of the gifts that COVID brought, where people were able to be,
Oh,
right?
yes. Yes.
It's like they're able to see people for who they are versus what they used to think, right? It needed, like, if you look at it as a gift, which I did, that you can see so many things. Death has always occurred, right? This whole idea, like, to me as a doctor, Nikki, if that's where you do a doctor nurse as a hospice, I have zero idea why they're not talking about it like a sports game. We had 52 people in and we made, 25 went home, right? Like, why aren't they focused
Yeah.
on the results that they want versus the deaths, right?
Because
Or the
that's
cases.
what we're conditioned to do. We're so conditioned as a humanity now. Our governments Government, religion, all these things that have come have always, what's the biggest word you ever hear in a church? Sin. You're a sinner. You have to repent. You have to earn your place in heaven and all this kind of crazy cuckoo stuff. Not only did I get to experience the whole racism thing, I got to experience the really heavy, thick religion, Bible bashing kind of religion here as well. And none of it made sense to me as a
Right.
kid. No, it's like, this is just cuckoo. Let me create some kind of diversion to my grandmother right before they close the doors and the church service starts. Like, Granny, I gotta go pee. I gotta go somewhere because I'm not sitting here during this service. And that's how it started in music. I went downstairs in the choir room and started playing the piano and singing by myself.
There you go.
Because I just could, even at 7, 8 years old, I couldn't endure that bag of blah, blah, blah. That everyone else around me was just like, whoa, hey, yes, whatever. Yeah.
This is a beautiful conversation, James. I mean, the fact is that it is now. The awakening is now. The awakening of humanity is now. And as you said eloquently, it's a dress rehearsal. So if you have missed the dress rehearsal and the meaning of the dress rehearsal, you might want to pay closer attention going forward.
Right now.
And I think for me, I just had published a book on trusting your intuition. And even though I had the material 3 years ago, it was like, put it out there now. And I in there, James, it was like most of my experience had to do with trusting health, right? Like I never vaccinated my daughters, right? And things like, so it was like, oh, isn't this interesting that I'm called to just put this out there now for those that want to learn more about their intuition. They're going to get this health commentary about the medical system. And even I had a cycling accident where my skull crashed the pavement, but I did not go to emergency. I just used, vibrational energy to come into alignment for that healing.
Yeah.
And so we're all being those little beacons of light, right? To say, Juju, wake up.
Yep.
And we need to do it differently in order to have that ripple effect, because that's part of the uniqueness. There isn't one way that people are going to
No. Some will get there by bicycle, some will go by bus, some by plane, some will walk, some will swim. But what matters is that you're going.
Right.
You're going. It doesn't matter how you get there. I have I spoke to a really good friend of mine just the other day. He is a charge nurse for an ICU unit. So he is the head of the ICU unit that had stopped receiving any other patients except COVID patients, and he lived in the Miami area, in a big center where there's a lot of it going through their hospitals. And he said, James, he says, there's just something so distorted about all of this, because we're putting people in an ICU unit, isolating them, not letting them see family, not letting them have contact with people. So how do they really know that what the true aspect of what they're going through is? And why have we chosen to do this? And that is so that they can put blinders on people and they can manipulate the outcomes of the situation. And that is just another layer of trying to get people distracted from all of the beauty that's taking place.
Yeah, it's exciting.
It is. I tell people, I said, this is probably the most excited I've been about being here on Earth, because before it's been a lot of work, and now I feel like it's just that there's a levity to all of it. While some are choosing this aspect of things, man, we can so let go of that. We can so let go of that and see the beauty, whatever. And it doesn't take, where before it could take us a while to work through things and open our vision and see. No, right now it's literally like you just said, it's almost like a finger snap. We literally just look over there, see it, and all of the guides, angels rush in and say, yes, here, see, let me show you that. And here's a whole spectrum of other things. focus here.
Right.
And, you know, they can just say, focus here, and you'll see. And in just this loving, most beautiful way. And like you said, there will be people who will cling to their story, who the indoctrination of whatever it is that they received
Mhm.
is so got its grips in there. There was a person in our gathering this morning that was in that situation, and I pushed her a little bit to try and see another perspective, another possibility, and in the end she chose to stand where she was, so I just let go.
Right.
Because as Rumi says, if they wish not to learn, let them sleep.
Right.
Just let them sleep.
And I feel like you have that choice, and we'll leave this at the end. So you can either realize that the awakening of humanity is happening now,
Mhm.
or you can stay asleep.
Mhm.
It's okay, whatever you choose.
Yes, yeah,
It's really okay. It's just choice.
it is. It is.
Ah,
Agreed.
this was beautiful. I know I need to go. I know there's another interview, and I'm like, at the moment, all I can be is that I'm here with James, and 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 that who's coming next it will be next. I know someone is next, so it's just woo. This was so
Beautiful.
good. I hope we can do more of this.
Please, anytime. I'm always up for amazing stuff like this.
All right.
Always, always, always.
Mwah. I love you.
Love you
Thanks,
too.
Vicky. Love you. Bye,
Blessings to
everybody.
you, and thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye bye.